Coming up on Arirang News. North Korea fired several cruise missiles off its west coast this morning for the fourth time in less than 2 weeks. Experts say such testing is likely to continue. On the first month of the new year, South Korea saw its inflation easing to a 6-month low. But because of the freezing weather, fruit and vegetable prices continue to remain high. The Winter Youth Olympics, the 14-day journey of Gangwon 2024 that hosted hundreds of the world's best young athletes, came to a close last night. From the training camp to Team Korea's golden finale, we have a wrap-up of the sporting spectacular. Good evening. It's 9 p.m. here in Seoul. Thank you for joining us on Arirang News. We start with yet another launch of missiles by North Korea. Pyongyang has fired a number of cruise missiles off its west coast this morning for the fourth time in less than 2 weeks as it expands its lineup of new weapons system. Our Peunji has our top story.
North Korea has once again fired cruise missiles toward waters off its west coast. South Korea's Joint Chiefs of Staff says it detected the launch of several cruise missiles into the West Sea at around 11 a.m. on Friday. It said the military has been closely coordinating with the U.S. to monitor additional signs of North Korean provocations, and that intelligence authorities of Seoul and Washington are currently conducting detailed analysis of the latest launch. Friday's launch was the North's fourth of a cruise missile in 10 days. On January 24th, it fired its new strategic cruise missile, the Bulhwasar 3-31, which means fire arrow in Korean. 3 days later, it tested the same type of missile from a submarine. Then, earlier this week, its Hwasar 2 cruise missile, claiming that it was aimed at sharpening its counterattack and strategic strike capabilities. Cruise missiles are designed to fly at a low altitude, making them harder to detect and intercept. A retired submarine captain and the head of a submarine research institute says the recent series of cruise missile launches come as the regime sees this type of missile as an effective weapon system to pose a threat to South Korea.
Until now, North Korea has been showcasing nuclear weapons aimed at hitting long-range targets like the US mainland. But now it's trying to show off measures that can directly strike South Korea, and cruise missiles are a highly suitable type of weapon system to achieve this.
He added that in order for newly developed missiles to be ready for deployment, various tests need to be conducted intensively, and said such testing will likely continue for the time being. Peunji, Arirang News.
U.S. Navy Admiral Samuel Paparo has warned of significant strategic and military risks linked to a potential conflict on the Korean Peninsula. That's according to his written response to the Senate Armed Services Committee on Thursday local time. The nominee for U.S. Indo-Pacific Command Chief highlighted the continued advancements made by North Korea in its conventional and strategic military capabilities. He also spoke of the need to improve Washington's deterrence against North Korean threats by increasing the allocation of airborne intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance assets. South Korea and the U.S. have completed their first joint special operations exercise of this year, coming at a crucial time. Our Kim Jong-sil has the report.
You're looking at members of the South Korean and U.S. Special Forces communicating with each other during a combined drill. As part of this year's first joint special operations drills, Special Forces units from South Korea and the U.S. deployed to the Rodriguez Live Fire Complex in Pocheon, Gyeonggi-do Province. For 2 weeks, they underwent intensive physical training, shooting practice, and providing first aid during combat situations. South Korea's 3rd Special Forces Brigade and the 1st Special Forces Group from the U.S., commonly known as the Green Berets, took part in the training. The U.S. 1st Special Forces Group is one of 7 U.S. Army Special Forces units that contribute to a unified deterrence posture in the Indo-Pacific region. Its soldiers also have expertise in guerrilla warfare. The drills were part of efforts to master combined operational procedures while reinforcing individual combat capability.
I was able to compare and experience the various weapons and combat methods of South Korea and the US Special Forces. I want to become a strong Special Forces member who can complete the mission anytime.
Our time here in Korea has been fantastic. We've just been trying to get after a lot of training with our Korean partners and trying to build that interoperability that we all strive for.
The South Korean Army Special Warfare Command said it will closely analyze the results of the exercise to improve its combined special operations capabilities for the future. The command doesn't always inform the public of the details of joint special operations exercises with the U.S. The disclosure this time may have been an attempt to demonstrate its strong commitment to deter North Korea, which has recently escalated its military provocations. Kim Jong-sil, Arirang News.
Moving on, the U.S. has approved plans to strike Iranian targets in Syria and Iraq. Officials say the strikes will take place over several days in retaliation for the deadly drone attack that killed 3 U.S. troops. Our Yi Seung-jae has more.
In response to the deadly drone attack that killed 3 U.S. soldiers in Jordan on Sunday, Washington has approved plans for a series of strikes against Iranian targets in Syria and Iraq. According to CBS News, U.S. officials said these strikes will take place over a number of days, with weather conditions likely to dictate when they begin. Although the U.S. military can attack even in poor weather conditions, it believes that visibility is important to prevent accidentally attacking civilians near the target. In response to the timing of the attack, White House National Security Council spokesman John Kirby said he would not comment on specifics, saying that hinting at the timeline for strikes would be the worst thing he could do. However, he stressed that President Biden had made up his mind on retaliation plans against the deadly drone attack in Jordan, adding the strikes would be a multi-layered approach over a period of time. Washington recently confirmed that Iran-backed Islamic resistance in Iraq, an umbrella group of militias, was responsible for Sunday's attack. It also assessed that the drone used in the attack was manufactured in Iran. Yi Seung-jae, Arirang News.
Meanwhile, Israel says its next target in the Gaza Strip is Rafah, near the border with Egypt, where more than half of Gaza's population are taking shelter. Its defense minister Yoav Gallant said on Thursday that Israel has successfully dismantled the Hamas operation in Khan Younis and will reach Rafah to eliminate terror elements. The majority of Gaza's 2.3 million population is displaced in the enclave's southern cities, including in Khan Younis, where Israeli forces have reportedly attacked major hospitals. On the local economic front, in January, South Korea saw its inflation easing to a 6-month low. But because of the freezing weather, fruit and vegetable prices continue to remain high. Our Moon Hae-ryun has the latest numbers.
Inflation in South Korea eased back into the 2% range for the first time in 6 months, despite soaring prices of fresh produce. Data from Statistics Korea released on Friday show that the country's consumer price index, a key gauge of inflation, rose 2.8% in January compared to the same month the year before. It's the 3rd month in a row that year-on-year growth of CPI has seen a decline. Figures saw a rise after dropping to 2.4% in July and then began to ease after hitting 3.8% in October. Core inflation, excluding volatile food and energy prices, came to 2.5%, while the index measuring 144 daily necessities rose 3.4%. Prices of fresh produce have continued to climb due to poor weather conditions throughout the latter half of last year, with the rise in prices for agricultural goods remaining in the 15% range for 2 months straight. Fruit prices in particular saw the largest hike at just under 27%. With the government pledging last month to tackle climbing costs by removing or lowering tariffs for 21 different types of fruit. With the upcoming national holidays, 설날 or Lunar New Year, Finance Minister Choi Sang-muk announced further measures for the holiday season during an emergency economic meeting on Friday.
We will invest an additional 10 billion Korean won to stabilize prices of expensive fruits such as apples and pears, and prepare for possible supply instability by increasing cultivation of apples and pears by 8,000 tons this year.
Transport costs, however, fell by 0.3% compared to January 2023, continuing the trend of on-year decline since November last year. With the introduction of the climate card last weekend, which allows limitless public transport access in the capital Seoul, and plans to implement another type of public transport discount card called the K-Pass in May, the government hopes to lower transport fees even further. 문혜련, Arirang News.
To stabilize the falling prices of rice, the government aims to purchase some 50,000 tons from its private supply and use it for global food assistance. The ruling People Power Party's chief policymaker Yoo Il-dong said on Friday that this is in addition to the 50,000 tons announced last year. This as people in Korea consume less rice compared to before. The government plans to use drones and AI to make more accurate predictions when it comes to rice production and offer farmers incentives for raising other types of grains. The South Korean government plans to boost the country's hydrogen industry by improving related regulations. Included in the plans is increasing the number of hydrogen fueling stations in urban areas. Our business correspondent Shin Ha-young reports.
More hydrogen fueling stations will be established in urban areas of South Korea. That's according to plans announced during an emergency economic meeting hosted by Finance Minister Choi Sang-mok on Friday. The government aims to boost the hydrogen industry by improving related regulations.
The government will improve regulations in key areas, including hydrogen production facilities and distance rules for hydrogen fueling stations, to boost the country's hydrogen industry.
Under current regulations, hydrogen fueling stations are required to maintain a distance of 12 to 32 meters from places like residential areas and stores for safety reasons. The government plans to ease this restriction by allowing stations to be built in urban areas with the condition that protective walls are built. With this change, it aims to increase the number of hydrogen fueling stations from 192 in 2023 to 458 by 2030. It said it will also ease rules regarding liquid hydrogen. Currently, businesses are not allowed to operate both LPG stations and liquid hydrogen stations together, but this may change later this year with the implementation of new safety standards. Meanwhile, during the meeting on Friday, the Minister of Agriculture, Food and Rural Affairs announced plans to double the size of the Korean food industry. Considering the growing global demand for Korean cuisine, it aims to increase the number of Korean restaurants abroad to 15,000 by 2027. To achieve these goals, the ministry plans to enhance the expertise of Korean food professionals. The government will also digitize 100 Korean recipes and offer a variety of content, including traditional liquor and food pairings. With these plans, the ministry aims to boost the industry from a valuation of 152 trillion Korean won in 2021 to 300 trillion won, or around $226 billion by 2027. Shin Ha-young, Arirang News.
To sports now. The South Korean national football team will play Australia in the Asian Cup quarterfinals on Friday in Qatar. The match will start at 6:30 p.m. local time at Al Janoub Stadium in Qatar, or 12:30 a.m. on Saturday here in Korea. In Tuesday's round of 16 match against Saudi Arabia, South Korea won on penalties 4-2 after the match finished tied following extra time. Meanwhile, Australia defeated Indonesia 4-0 on Sunday. The two teams met previously back in 2015 in the final of the Asian Cup, which ended with a victory for Australia 2-1. The Winter Youth Olympics, the 14-day journey of Gangwon 2024 that hosted hundreds of the world's best young athletes, ended its run last night. From the training camp to Team Korea's golden finale, our culture correspondent Song Yu-jin has a wrap-up.
It's the end of another sports spectacle. With the Gangwon 2024 Winter Youth Olympic Games having come to a close, here's a look back on the games with some key words. Scale. The fourth Winter Youth Olympic Games was the biggest of its kind to date.
We witnessed remarkable performances from 1,800 athletes representing 78 national Olympic committees across 15 disciplines in 7 sports.
This beat Lausanne 2020's record of 1,788. Some 500,000 spectators visited Gangwon 2024, surpassing the organizing committee's goal of 250,000. The next keyword, legacy. This is Korea's second time hosting the Winter Olympics after Pyeongchang 2018.
For Gangwon 2024, we didn't build any new venues and used already existing ones. The organizing committee's total budget was 96.7 billion Korean won, 3.5% of the budget allocated for Pyeongchang 2018.
And then there's the soft legacy. 25 out of 100 athletes who participated in the Pyeongchang 2018 Legacy Foundation's New Horizons Academy, a training camp for young athletes from countries where winter sports are not accessible, qualified for Gangwon 2024. Out of them, Tunisian bobsledder Jonathan Lurimi and Thai bobsledder Agnes Kampeol won the first Winter Olympic medals for their countries.
Yeah, so it started with this program, New Horizon Academy, who gave me the opportunity to try out different winter sports, and I fell in love with bobsleigh, so I started to proceed bobsleigh.
Korea. Team Korea won a total of 7 gold, 6 silver, and 4 bronze at the Games. So Jae-hwan became the first Asian bobsledder to win gold at the Youth Olympics. Kim Hyun-kyung became the first Korean male to medal in figure skating, not winning 1, but 2 gold medals. Snowboarder Lee Chae-woon also won 2 gold. Culture. Gangwon 2024 offered an array of cultural events such as a DJ skate night, lessons from Olympians, and winter sports tryouts.
The most memorable aspect was Team Korea clinching the gold medal in the figure skating team event. In terms of festivities, I enjoyed the traditional Korean food tastings and the photo booth.
From the 1988 Seoul Summer Olympics to Pyeongchang 2018 and now Gangwon 2024, Korea's Olympic heritage continues. 송유진, Arirang News, Gangneung.
If you're planning to meet some of the most iconic, young and innovative designs this weekend, Seoul is the right choice. The city's iconic fashion week is back, and our Choi Soo-hyung gives us a glimpse of that.
Seoul Fashion Week is known for its innovative and eclectic style, often blending traditional elements and modern trends. 2024 Seoul Fashion Week's fall and winter season embarked on its 5-day run on Thursday. This season, some Korean fashion designers famous among young people gather at Dongdaemun Design Plaza and Seongsu S Factory, the country's fashion hub. Like the previous seasons, the venue is being held earlier than usual to grab the attention of the world's fashion media.
For this year's autumn and winter collection, Seoul Fashion Week takes place 6 weeks earlier than the Big Four, New York, Paris, Milan and London.
A total of 21 runway shows are scheduled, 15 at DDP and 6 at S Factory. The week kicked off with designer Park So-young's brand July Column, which has become a popular label in Korea.
July Column is very much a new generation, and Park So-young is the only designer in Korea with such craftsmanship. I was impressed with the diverse mix and match of knit, layered patterns, and meticulous detailing. I think the designer tries to balance between classic with fresh and international while also embracing a distinct Korean aesthetic.
During the show, the world-renowned South Korean soprano singer Park Hae-sang took the runway to perform her newly released song.
Nowadays, the world really can't ignore K-beauty and fashion. I think we have the power to lead, and the stage was so unique due to a collaboration with the opera singer. It was touching and truly impressive.
In particular, this season aims to increase the participation of young generation brands with high potential for global growth. And so, the Seoul Metropolitan Government, the host of this event, has invited 68 domestic brands to take part. Moreover, celebrating its 23rd year, various events allow visitors to have a memorable experience. A massive 12-meter-long graffiti wall welcomes attendees in front of DDP Square.
I think Korean people in general, they're very well coded. Like every time I see them, their pants always go with their shirts, the shoes always go with everything. Also, the fashion differs from the place that you're in. Like if you go to Hongdae, you'll see like more street fashion, and Shinsa is like more like professional look.
The event will run until February 5th, showcasing diverse talent and contributing significantly to the global fashion scene. Choi Soo-hyung, Arirang News.
In other news, from kimbap to mandu and bibimbap, Korean snacks and foods continue to become popular around the world. The latest addition to this list are K-snacks like Hoppang and yakgwa. Our Yoon-jin has the story.
The steamed bun Hoppang is one of the most popular winter snacks in Korea. Its growing popularity has led to more flavors being added to what used to be just the plain bun with sweet red bean paste filling. Now there are flavors like black sesame, injeolmi, and even kimchi, and demand for these buns continues to increase by the year.
They're easily available at convenience stores and are a filling warm snack.
The Hoppang was thought to be a popular snack just in Korea. But when it was showcased at last year's Anuga Food Tech, a global food expo in Germany, buyers were busy giving the colorful buns a taste.
Very good. Amazing tasting. You have another one? Only one? Why?
One of the major food companies that produce Hoppang said that exports increased by 50% last year compared to the previous year to 25 different countries, including the United States, Europe, and Southeast Asian countries. This has also been the case for another Korean dessert called yakgwa. Even among people in Korea, there's been a wave of increasing demand for these traditional cookies in recent years. But that has now spread globally. Dubbed the Korean macaron, the popularity of its traditional cut and chewy texture has led to an increase of 40% in exports last year.
Some 7,000 buyers have stopped by with positive feedback. It was an important platform to popularize K-desserts.
Hallyu played a role in making the yakgwa known to the global market, but it was also the handmade traditional yakgwa specialty shops. Yakgwa that are crafted like pieces of artwork became popular on social media, attracting up to 40 to 50 foreign tourists in a single day.
I really wanted to try the yakgwa cookie that's popular in Korea. The ones at this store looked so delicious and pretty.
Some of these traditional Korean snacks and desserts that were believed to be unique for Korean taste buds are now attracting a wider global market as more people enjoy the taste of Korea. Yoon-jin, Arirang News.
Daytime temperatures felt like early spring today. It rose to 6 degrees Celsius in Seoul, even in the middle of the day, exceeding the previous year's temperature by 3 degrees. This weekend will also be mild all over the country. Daily highs will get up to 10 degrees on Sunday, which is Ipchun on the lunar calendar, informing us that spring is starting. While the weather stays mild, fine dust has been an issue nationwide. Tomorrow, Chungcheongnam-do and Jeollabuk-do provinces will see bad levels of ultrafine dust. High waves are expected on the east coast and Jeju Island. Please pay attention to safety accidents approaching the coast. Tomorrow, Daejeon and Gyeongju will start off at -1 degrees. Daytime conditions will get a touch warmer. Daejeon, Gwangju, and Daegu will get up to 10 degrees Celsius. Starting with the southern parts of the country on Sunday, rain or snow will come around across the rest of the country on Monday. That's all for Korea. Here are the weather conditions around the world.
Well, that is all for this newscast. Thank you for watching. We'll be back at 10 p.m. with the AI headline news. Hope everyone has a great weekend and a good night.